Hey guys, I'm Lydia, and I know y'all see me smashing this brownie right here. This is that TikTok Slutty Brownie recipe, and let's jump into my first time making it with you all. Alright guys, so we're all set up. I'm going to throw in our butter, and that's the first ingredient we're going to put in for our Slutty Brownies. We're also going to put in our sugar. So I have brown sugar and white sugar here. Okay, so our first layer of our brownies is just going to be a regular basic cookie mix. So now that I have our butter and sugar inside, we're just going to start creaming that together. And we're going to do it with a paddle attachment. We're going to lift her up and turn her on, and we're just going to let this go for about 4 or 5 minutes until it's nice and incorporated and the butter and sugar is fluffy. Alright, so now that that is nice and fluffy, and I'm going to show you where we're at in between stages. So this is where we are. We're just going to throw in our eggs, our vanilla, and then get that going again. Now I am going to make sure I scrape everything down in between sections, guys. I know I cut that part out of videos sometimes, so it's not too long, but we do scrape everything down. So we're going to let this go for about 30 seconds, and then we'll add in our flour and our chocolate. So now that that is mixed, we're going to add in our flour. In here is flour and salt as well. Never forget your salt when you're baking, guys. So we'll let that go, and then we'll mix our chips in by hand. So this is where, this is where our dough is looking like right now. We still have flour in, but I would always hate to overmix my doughs. So even when I make cakes, sometimes, well, most of the time when they're from scratch and they're my personal recipes, guys, I always stop my mixer at this point and I'll do the rest from hand. Again, just to make sure you do not overmix your dough. So that's what we're gonna do. So at this stage, I'm going to actually add in my chips before I finish mixing. And then we're just going to fold them in, scrape your edges, get the flour, get all of that stuff that's in there and on the bottom, finish mixed in. And it's really thick, guys. That's how you get that arm muscle going. So now that this is done, we'll get our pan. Now I have a 9x13 pan. I did run out of my large parchment paper sheets, so I had to use my parchment circles for when I do my baking or when I do cakes, which is fine. We're gonna dump this right on in. Alright, so the cookie layer is done and it's evened out. So now we're going to go with our chocolate chip cookie layer. Now we're going in with our Oreos. And again, guys, I stole this off of TikTok. These are double stuffed, by the way. But I saw this video on TikTok and I really just wanted to try it. It looks so good. I never made this before, so I'm so happy. Okay. I think I need to either put these closer to fit more. So I'm going to keep just placing these down, guys. I'm gonna put my cookie layer in the fridge after I get these Oreos in, okay? And then while this sits in the fridge, we'll move right on to our brownie layer. So I'm gonna drop these, clean up this table, and then we can start making our brownie layer that goes right on top of this cookie and Oreo layer. Moving on to our brownie layer. All right, guys, so everything is out to make our brownies. I have my little heat top because we do melt our chocolate. I never make brownies with just cocoa powder. I have to use real melted chocolate in it. It's just a thing of mine since I was like 12. So I'm gonna turn my heat on and grab my butter. I'm gonna drop my butter straight into the pot. I will say, if you're not good at making brownies, please, please, please do this on a double boiler. If you've never melted your chocolate and made brownie the long way, do it in a double boiler. Don't do it straight in the pot because I don't want you to burn your chocolate or your butter or accidentally mess anything up and it starts to curdle. So I'm gonna turn my heat down to 2 to work with. So we're gonna add in our chocolate. We're turning this on and we're just gonna let our butter melt. Once my butter, we're gonna let that butter just melt. I'll add my chocolate in. I always use a whisk when I do my chocolate. I go between a whisk and a actual rubber spatula, just to let you guys know. The spatula helps me get in the edges, but the whisk helps me get it nice and smooth consistency that I want it to be. Just like that. So once it's fully melted, guys, we're actually going to take this off the heat. Now that we took it off, guys, you see how beautiful that consistency is? How velvet and smooth it is. That's exactly how you want it. So we're going to add our sugar straight in. Once I get to the flour, I might have to switch permanently to my rubber spatula because it will be thick. So I'm going to add this egg in real quick. And again, it's hot. You don't want that egg to curdle and start to cook. So whisk it in fast. This is cocoa powder, all-purpose flour, and I have salt in that bowl as well. Once it gets too thick for my whisk, about now, I'm going to start switching over to my spatula. And just mix up the rest of the ingredients in there. So our brownie mix is done. Before it starts to try to cool and set, we're gonna grab our cookie mix right out the fridge. All right, so we have our cookies. Our cookie dough mix for the bottom is pretty much set and cool, which I like. I always like to make sure I cool my cookie dough before I bake it. This is our brownie mix right here. And I'm going to just go straight down the center evenly. And I can spread it out towards the edges as I go. Okay? And guys, y'all know we're going to get all this good stuff out of this pot. All of it. All right. So all the good stuff scraped out. All we're going to do is just lightly smooth it out. And then we'll get this right into the oven, guys. Okay, so this is 3 layers. We're going to go in with 2 more layers. That will be a Biscoff layer. So it'll be Biscoff cookies as well as Biscoff cookie butter. Trying to push some dough in there to push that corner back. Okay. And that'll be the 2 layers that we are going to add after they're done baking. So I'm gonna get this in the oven at 350 degrees. Okay, it's gonna bake for about 35 to 45 minutes. I always check at the 35 mark. Again, if we didn't want to over mix our doughs, please don't over bake your stuff either. Okay, so just make sure you pay attention to that. Now guys, this brownie is a bit thicker, as I can tell by just layering it. And I did double the cookie recipe because I didn't like how thin it was. That's why it is thicker. And then I did the brownie recipe by 0.5. So I did a recipe and a half. And again, I just wanted it to be thick and covered. So this is going to go in the oven, 350, 35 to 45 minutes. Oh, that looks so good. That looks so good. That looks so good. Them edges is balling. All right, guys, so we got our cookie butter melted. I'm stirring it up. I did transfer it to a wooden cutting board just because it looked better. And you can actually see the layers more. So let's top it. I don't have much left, guys, so I'm just going to scrape the rest of the jar. Pour it dead smack in the center, and then I'll just distribute that as well. Makes no sense to put this little bit in, you know, back on the counter. Makes no sense. I hate when people do that. Leave that little bit of milk in the cupboard, in the fridge, or, you know, not even enough peanut butter for a sandwich. How do you do that? Who does that? Narcissist. Anyway, this looks good. So now we're gonna add our cookies. Trying to decide how I want to lay them. Alright, so we got all of our cookies are on. This, I gotta hold it so it don't slide. This is what it looks like, our Slutty Brownies. It looks so good. I'm gonna let it cool off just a little bit more so that Biscoff can get back to its original state since it is melted now. And then we're gonna cut into it and eat it. And I'm so excited, I'm so excited. Okay, we gotta do this together. We gotta do this together. Oh, if I could pick it up in one. Look at that. Oh, look at that. Look at it. Look at it. That's heaven. That's on the mark. That's it. That is it. Wow. That's it. That's it. Guys, if you like this video, make sure you hit that like button down below and subscribe to the channel if you like any of these type of videos, okay? I'm thinking about doing a TikTok made me do a series because this turned me on. Anyway, I'm about to go be fat. Bye.